Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of Level Up Cleveland. And today we have with us the guys from Bessemer Saints. That's right. Today I have Terry the Bull Johnson and Tommy Packard. Terry is the drummer.
Yes, sir.
Tommy plays guitar.
Correct.
Not with us today is Dave Shags Snodgrass.
That's it.
He's your bass player.
Extraordinaire.
And the singer is Corey Wooten.
Mm-hmm.
Thanks for coming down, guys.
Thank you so much for having us.
You can check out these guys. They have their debut album out called This Is BS. And you can pick it up. You can listen to it on any of the platforms, Spotify, iHeart. They're on all of them. So this album came out last year, 21.
Yep.
How long you guys got it before you put that together?
Well, really, I think we kind of moved backwards to, what would you say, about 2019 or so?
It was Christmas time, about the holiday show 2018.
Yeah. So Tommy and I had played before, and every once in a while, after a few pops, Tommy would get in real close. He says, Terry, we got to do like a power trio. We got to get something going. And it was shortly, I don't know, after that holiday time, I was like, well, Tommy, what do you got? Let's do something. He gave me the choice. He's like, well, do you want to play bass? Or do you want to play drums? I was like, man, I've been doing bass for the last 10 years, and I grew up playing drums. I think I can handle this. Let's do it. And Tommy sent me these recordings that he put together that would remind you of almost like Jimi Hendrix. It was like 4 guitar solos all in one. He said, let's do something with this. And listening through, we just started to jam. Every get-together was just fluid jam, just what is coming out of you. It didn't take long before we knew we had something, and we had to get our people together. And that's where we've got our buddy Dave. Shaggy is a really special player. I mean, he's a special person, but that kind of rolls through on the playing aspect. He's incredibly musically gifted, but kind of a free spirit, and we needed that person to dance in between where the ideas were coming from and dance in between the rhythms. And it wasn't too long after we've got those three together that we were in business. It just almost seemed like every time we got together, well, you start a jam by writing a song. And all of a sudden, we got 10 songs together.
It's an impressive album,
I appreciate
to say
that.
the least. I got to tell you, I was sometimes I'm taken aback by, I mean, honestly, every band that we've had on here, to some degree, I like the other music. You know, like, I'm shocked sometimes because their styles aren't really mine, but I'm like, wow, to listen to it, that's good. But there's a couple that stand out, and this album, I mean, you guys got a really good singer also.
Corey's special, and Corey does some really neat things. I don't know if you would put it first, but Corey is a world-class death metal screamer. He will rip your face off.
Really?
And that's where we met him. We were in a group maybe about 5-6 years ago. It was kind of coming to the tail end of that group. You know, groups are born, we live, and we fade, and sometimes it gets put on the shelf. But Corey, we brought into that group, was a band called Space Monkey. And he delivered the goods for one perfect set. And
That was it.
And then that was it.
So who's coming up with these riffs? Because I'm hearing some really killer riffs in this music. Is it both of you guys that come up with riffs, or is it like one of you guys more the riff master in this whole thing?
I would say the riffs are coming from Tommy. My job is to put some booty moving groove to it.
Yeah, it's all there, and it's got and it's got that classic metal feel to it. It's got the bluesy stuff going all throughout it. It's a lot of bluesy stuff going all through there and stuff. Really rocking. It's really cool because you guys can be the bluesy hard rock band, but you guys you'll deliver some metal, and I think that's why, like, two of the people who were on our show prior to this was Guy Snowden and Son of Sky. You guys played with both of them. Well, they're not anywhere near the same kind of a band,
Nope.
But you guys can cross over into each one of those audiences and impress people because you guys kind of like hang in the middle somewhere. Right?
Oh, yeah. No, and that was by design. When when I first brought up the idea to Terry, it was, let's just get together and jam and see what comes out. No genre box that we had to fit in.
You don't.
You know, and you get a particular style when you do jam. A lot of times the riffs will end up being made up on the spot just because somebody picks a vibe to go on. Let's do a shuffle in a particular key, and just you get together and jam for 20 minutes on it. I'm usually recording on my phone. And then you go back and listen, and you're like, there's good bits here, and it morphs
put it together.
It's an
Take out-
organic process rather than one guy in his basement writing metal riffs and.
Is that what you guys usually
programming
do? It's a jam session that'll spark the ideas.
Oh yeah. I may come in with a riff or two. Shaggy may come in with an idea or two. Somebody may come in and go, "Let's do something with this type of feel," and you just play around with it.
What about vocals and lyrics? Does he handle all that himself, or do you guys write lyrics? Or
Well, I would say there's opportunity for some chime-ins. We've got a couple of, at least one on the album that was a Shaggy special. He had,
Two actually.
Okay.
Shockwave and Steak Next Time. Shaggy did the lyrics on those.
Yeah. But that kind of really boils back down around to, once we had the three of us, we got a gift put in our lap. We knew we had something going. It was kind of this power trio. To be honest, it was more instrumental than anything. I could sing a little bit. Shaggy sings wonderfully. I think our voices work well together, but there was something missing. And our pal Corey, well, he was hosting a heavy metal jam night out in this little bar out in Lorraine, and he said, "Hey, fellas, you want to come out and jam?" So we took a 3-song set that was all instrumental, and we went out there to Lorraine, really cool little brew pub called Basco Brewery, and it's not an entertainment venue. It's just a bar with some speakers. And we set up shop. We did our 3 tunes, and Corey comes strutting up with his big old grin, and he's like, "You guys want to do one other jam? I'll just throw some lyrics on whatever." And yeah, just jam. I couldn't even tell you what it sounded like or what it was.
That's right. We did just make up stuff on the spot.
But
awesome.
It was later in the evening after a few pops, and Corey's like, "What do you think about me singing for you guys?" And we knew he could scream, and we knew he could write, but we didn't know if his heart was going to be coming out of that really aggressive black death, tech death metal kind of scene to just let some funk roll out. But he said, "Give me 2 weeks, let me come down." And that's what we did. We set up a jam. We sent him a couple phone recorders, and I mean, he showed up in the room and just, we jam in this little space that's not much bigger than this desk, and he put his body there, and he just let us know that there's something special there.
yeah, because so you're saying this guy never really did a vocal like this one before in a band situation? I mean, is that
Not to my knowledge.
No, I mean in Space Monkey, I mean we had you'd get the harsh metal vocals, but he could also carry a melody. We knew he
that's
could
what
sing.
I mean? His melodies are what I'm like, wow, this isn't a typical melody. Like he comes out, somebody's coming up with some cool vocal melodies that aren't typical, and when you hear that, it makes the song. It's so original sounding. It's so. You guys are really good. I'm not bullshitting you guys. I'm impressed.
The vocal melodies are 90% just Corey making stuff up.
It comes with a really unique perspective because he, in some of his previous projects, he treats his voice very much like a rhythm object. I mean, it is just, where does that voice fit into those rhythms? And now we've got a palette that's a little smoother. But now we can really work in some really cool different kind of polyrhythms that play off the drums, that play off the bass, and all of a sudden now you've got a pretty unique vocal. I mean, he's just singing the blues. He's just crooning to you, but where he's putting things is a perspective that only he's got, and it's cool. It's cool. There's a little bit of an age gap between us. So there's 15 years between Tommy and I. So things from my youth are not necessarily things from his youth.
Yeah.
He's older. No.
The things from his youth are way cooler.
I was born in 73. I have 3 older sisters, graduated in 77, 78, and 82. So that's where I got my musical influence. And that's what made me want to pick up the guitar. It just so happens in 87 when I picked it up, I heard Master of Puppets, and I played metal for 30 years.
Like when Thrash came out, you were pretty much on it pretty quickly. Well, Master was 86, so that was just a couple years after it came out, really.
Yeah.
But that was exactly what happened to me, man. Master of Puppets changed my life.
No, that type of music just grabbed me, and that's where my guitar playing gravitated to.
What would you say? So, like what's your Master of Puppets?
Well, I got a little bit of a different skew because most of my musical knowledge was coming from classic rock radio. So I grew up with my pops in the garage, and we had Youngstown, Ohio, classic rock radio. So you're getting things like the Cars and Motown, and he was a musician that brought a lot of early country and early rock in. That's kind of where I got my start. And almost had no frame of reference for anything modern music until I think I was 13 years old, and I bought, don't hate me on this, I'm looking at you, I bought the Load album. So Metallica's Load came out, and that is in the record store the first time I dropped dollars on it, and I like, well, this is music for me now. So I think I found my voice on the bass side of things, and my musical taste kind of bent and flowed with music as I got into it in my time. My favorite bass player is Dennis Dunaway from the Alice Cooper Group. So kind of rolling through where he puts tone placements underneath theatrics.
How about you, Tommy? How'd you start off doing all this crazy stuff? How'd you get involved in the guitars? And I mean, I know you heard Master of Puppets, but a lot of people did. They didn't think to pick up the guitar.
No, like I say, growing up, my sister's classic rock going on in the house. And in fact, I remember one day, me and my cousin, we came home from Cedar Point. My sister was down there with her boyfriend at the time, and they were watching The Song Remains the Same, the movie. And Mom was like, it's bedtime. Started going up the steps, turned around, and I'm like, you know what? I want to play guitar like that someday. And this is before I ever picked up the guitar. Like I say, that's what made me want to play the instrument. It just so happened that hearing metal coincided with when I actually picked up the instrument, and it just changed courses. But it's the stuff you hear on This Is BS, the stuff we're doing, even the heavier stuff. I mean, it's a schizophrenic record.
It really is. It's what I mean, but it's cool. I like that because it still has that sound. You guys have a cool sound. The guitar has a good crunchy sound to it. So that when you guys want to go a little into the metal,
we can do it. Oh,
it's there, man.
No, and that's the fun of it. This is guitar playing wise. This band's a different mentality than anything else I've been in. You know, I've been other metal bands, and usually you're in your basement, you write your riff, maybe program some drums, get a vibe, and then the rest of the band learns it. This is a different mentality because like I said, we get in a room, you jam on a vibe, and make stuff up on the spot. It's a whole different feel. It's enjoyable. It's a completely different concept than other bands, you know.
Are you originally from Cleveland?
Yeah, I grew up in North Homestead. Yep.
Homestead?
North Homestead. Yep.
How about you? You said Youngstown area?
Yeah, so I grew up in Youngstown, and then by the time I turned 18, school kind of took me everywhere.
Were you in Youngstown or near Youngstown?
Near Youngstown, a little suburb to the south side called Poland. Living in Cleveland, it only took about 3 months before I realized there's something going on every night of the week, and whatever it is you're into, metal, country, pop, punk, there's a place for you, and there's a venue putting out the music you want to put out. And my brother was living in Columbus at the time and was playing this really cool kind of obscure horror punk band that came up. It's like, hey, we're going up to Cleveland. And I was like, okay, I'll meet you there. So I met him at a bar right now. It's called the Fun House. It was the Spitfire Saloon. The easiest part of this gig is putting your stuff on stage and performing. The hard part is the promotion, the getting out and about, shaking hands with folks, meeting venue owners, club operators, intermingling with bands, trying to figure out where the fit is as far as, does your sound fit? Does your attitude fit? Are you looking for an eclectic fit?
Yeah.
But yeah, and that's why I asked him first to start this project with me, knowing he could play either drums or bass, leaving it up to him, and went from there. But so you were in Space Monkey for a couple of years, I think it was?
Yeah, almost 3 years. Right at the tail end, we put the album out.
Yep.
I was on the album just a little bit, not so much on the bass side, a little bit on the vocal side.
Yeah,
but
definitely.
Projects I'm super proud of. Band only lived for a demo and an album, but it's good stuff. It is still in my rotation when I'm in the gym. If I need a little bit of something and I don't quite have it that morning, I put on, was it Twisted Visions? I know that weight's coming up. So it's
that's a pretty brutal song.
Yeah. And one of my best friends in the scene is Chrissy. She was in this singer in a band called Cellbound, and she sings with me now in Aletheia. And that still fulfills within me the writing and the attitude. That's the aggression, the heavy metal. We can find the pretty, we can find the dark, and it's all there, and I don't lose that. We have been saving up what doesn't fit in any other project that we've had.
Yeah.
And this is it. And that's why it sounds like 10 different bands on 10 different tracks, is because it's just a pouring out of our soul of everything that we really like that didn't fit. And but now we got a blueprint. Now we got and it's wide open. It's wide open. We can do a boogie, we can do a funk, we can do a blues. We turn that fuzz up and do a metal, and then we can turn the speed up, and it's all.
It's still all you guys, though. That's what I noticed,
Oh, yeah.
though. Like as you're listening to it, it doesn't sound like different bands. It really does sound like one band, and you guys actually will mix it in within a song too. So it's not just this song's different from this song. You'll all of a sudden it'll be a nice bluesy thing going through there, and it's got that, like you'll say, funky type of a rhythm, and then when you go into the break part, it's a skippy. You guys are doing a choppy metal riff.
Yeah.
All of a sudden, very cool.
Absolutely.
That's you're hearing 4 individual personalities coming together, doing their own parts. I mean, when we're jamming, we rarely discuss what notes, where to go, or anything like it. It's straight up 4 guys getting together and jamming.
You guys actually have a friendship. What about the other guys?
Absolutely.
Are you guys all kind of tight that way, or I
would say so, but almost in different capacities. Everybody's got their own different approach to things, and I know I can talk to Shaggy about some things I wouldn't dare talk to Tommy about.
Wow, that's an exclusive right here on Level Up
A
Cleveland.
little bit. Well,
We're going to have a little talk later.
and Tommy knows that too, because then he's just going to
yeah.
get on my case.
Even Terry and I were talking not that long ago, too. Especially in a rock band, you have those relationships, let's say Steven Tyler and Joe Perry and,
Yes.
the Stones and that. But Corey is not your typical lead singer attitude-wise.
Yeah, he comes
is
across as
so laid
humble
back.
and confident at the
Yeah.
same time.
Yeah.
And that's a pleasure to work with, especially a guitar player. Every once in a while, the guitar player and singer will butt heads, and we have not had that issue whatsoever.
That's beautiful.
And like I say, even when we're writing, very rarely do we talk about, hey, maybe we should do this and that. Maybe a little part here and there, but everybody kind of does their own thing, and it comes together.
It does come together.
And that's so much fun.
Do you ever feel like, because of the bass situation, that you have to tell Shaggy, like, no, dude, I think you should do it like this? Do you guys ever have those kind of conversations while writing stuff? Or
I'll be honest, not for me. I'm thankful that I get him in my visual field in the years that we have been jamming. I've been a fan of his for many years. He has got, just like me, he's got different projects that fit different areas of his personality and different areas of what is demanded of him for the music. He is in this sledgehammer of a band that's just now kind of doing a little bit of a revival called Bound by Fate. And it is just eighth notes as far as you can hit them. And it's just a big sledgehammer. And he does it with unbridled enthusiasm. He plays bass in the Rick Ray Band, which just is now dropping, I think, their 36th or 37th full-length release. I've just been playing in my car, where his brain is required to go for the progressive nature of that music. It's just an incredible mental mapping. I think he gets to kind of be himself in this band. He is not anyone's employee. He's his own voice in this band, and I have learned so much about the instrument in just a couple of years, just getting a chance to watch where his mind, where his hands go. When we play a blues funk, he is not 1-4-5 in it. He is not doing, to Tommy's sideways grin, he's not doing typical progressions when you're rolling through guitar solo notes. So sometimes it takes a little bit of time on the anvil.
As far as his bass playing, I think there's been a couple of tunes where it's, when we do this change, let's just sit on the root, where he may have gone somewhere. Just one note here, one note there. Other than that, what you're hearing is what's coming out of his mind.
that's great, though. It's because they are great bass lines. So you're with Aletheia and this band. Do you ever foresee possible that you would have to do a double duty and you guys would play together in one night?
Yes, and mission accomplished.
Oh, you already have done it.
Yeah, we had a really cool opportunity. It was September 11th of last year. We were just kind of getting some things going. Our pal Dave from Destructor and Vulgar Devils put together this great production at the Gold Horn Brewery. It was an all-day festival full of some travelers, some heavy hitters, some Globetrotters, and we had Aletheia play a set there. I think our set was about 5 o'clock, and I just had enough time to high-five and hug everybody before I swapped vehicles that had all my drums in it to boogie it down to the Maple Grove, where we had a BS set. So
No kidding.
And that was a great day. It was a great day. And we got a chance to move the VIP party down from the brewery, which closed a little early, down to the next venue down the line to have a cool little party.
So you had the same day, but they weren't actually the same venue.
It wasn't the same venue, so that kind of made it trickier per se.
Hell yeah, that's a tough day. That's a long day, especially when the part of your day is drumming. You know, I mean, that's mostly.
But he's doing something he loves.
That
When you think about it, it's not work. Yeah, you're rushing to get there or get in between and loading up. But at the end of the day, you're playing music.
It's true, and I look at it's kind of us here talking about us. My brother's a professional musician down in Nashville, and he'll do a 12 to 4, a little break, and a 5 to 9, and then a 10 to 2, and he's going up and down the Nashville Strip when he's not on tour. So that is
it's a blast.
That's
That place is a blast, man. For that reason, right there, the level of musicians in that place is like you were talking about Cleveland.
Yeah,
that place is a whole different.
Oh yeah, no, they flock from all over to that spot.
Yeah, the people playing in the front of the bars in the streets are better than the average person anywhere else in America.
Yeah,
honestly, it's pretty wild. But who is he?
His brother, Mike Johnson. Mike Johnson, percussion and strings. He does anything that you can do with a musical instrument. He does at a world-class rate. And he's toured the country and internationally time and time over. He's worked with a couple acts that, quite frankly, just like us and anybody, COVID has, our times have played with a lot of touring musicians. Thankfully, we've got some folks getting back on the road. His schedule has kind of allowed him to kind of move into the 1 and 2 week runs, but prior to the world turning down, I mean, he was doing the 6 to 8 week runs, coast to coast, back and forth, getting a van, and he was doing everything for these groups. He drives the van, sound checks at 4 o'clock, he grabs a little nap before 7, and then they got another 8 hours to go. They load up the van, and he's driving the band to the next city. Brother's a musician,
That's what he does.
That's what he does.
Didn't he just do a gig where he played drums and bass at the same time?
Yeah, you want to talk about... I'll dig this one up for you, but he built himself a rig that he is sitting there playing bass with his left hand, and he's got acoustic drums and pads, and he is playing everything you can play and rolling through the group and doing it for an hour set at a very, very high level. And, he had a drummer cancel on 2 days before the gig. What are you going to do? So,
You're kidding me. That's crazy.
But anything on a string. Bass is his primary. He's a world-class percussionist. He went to school for as a percussion player. But he's a tremendous mandolin player. He plays piano. He's got a great voice. He's a special player. And he's always done what he loves. But thankfully now, after 20 years of digging, he's making a living. He's not making a struggle. He's making a living, and I couldn't be more proud of him.
For me, making it right now, it's the creative process. I'm 48 and I'm still doing original stuff because that's what I enjoy.
Right.
And I hope other people enjoy it. Anything else that happens, you're always trying to push to see where it can go. But at this point in my life, I'm going to be 49 next month. Any of that is icing on the cake.
It's all right. I'm going to look back, if I'm still around 20, 30, 40, 50 years from now, and that disc is still going to be in my mantle, because that's something we did. It never goes away.
It's the best. It's one of the best hobbies because everything you do gets recorded and it lives forever. Everybody else's hobbies usually just result in a memory, maybe a head on a wall, but not with music and in a podcast or whatever you're creating. When you can record it, man, there's something about that. And it doesn't have to be successful by the monetary reason to really get the satisfaction from it.
Well, no, and albums to me they're snapshots of your life at a particular time.
Right.
And I like to have that, 20 years down the road. It's like, hey, listen to this. This is what Grandpa was doing in 2021.
Yes.
And I have that going back to demos I recorded with early metal bands from 1990. I enjoy the creative process, but it's a snapshot of your life, and it's something to have to be proud of. It's like a photo album.
I love that. So, anyways, I want to talk a little bit about this album. This is BS.
I'm sorry.
Yeah.
It is.
You got it.
Right. It's like the Who's on First. First of all, it's 10 songs. That's like the perfect amount of songs on an album. 2 of them are instrumentals, part 1, part 2, and instrumental you guys did on there too, which I think is cool. Oh, was that another jam session type thing? And it has like a jam feel to it, right?
Part 2 literally came from Terry and me jamming, just us two.
Him on drums and you on guitar, that's it?
Yeah,
That's it.
I put on this shimmer reverb effect and was just playing around with that. Hit record on my phone. We kept 80% of what that initial jam was.
Oh, cool.
That's why it's kind of all over the map riff-wise. And then part 1 was kind of an afterthought idea. We wanted to do something a little mellow just to contrast it, but then split it up
It also
on the album.
gave us an opportunity. I know for me as a drummer, I knew I've got some good funky stuff on there, some good bluesy, some good just straight time. But for me, I really like some of the classic orchestra kind of instruments. I wanted an opportunity for wind chimes, for washing cymbals, for big crash cymbals. I wanted to get on record things in my mind of what are just cool percussive sounds in a meaningful way, and getting an opportunity to be in a studio that just dumps out great heavy metal after great heavy metal pieces, because quite frankly, we're working with the person we trust. Watching some of your other podcasts, I know his name face has been rolling around, but we work with Noah Buchanan over at Mercenary Studios.
Mercenary, yeah, we've heard much about Mercenary.
That's it. And I know I trust him implicitly when it comes to low tones. I know he can tell me in real time whether it works or doesn't work.
So you guys haven't stopped writing stuff. So are you guys like, when you're writing now, is it like you're banking it as you're writing it? Or, I mean, do you have complete songs done? Are you guys, I mean, is the second album already like in the works?
Oh yeah, we've been playing 2 or 3 new songs in the set. Some of them were left over from original sessions for This Is BS that just weren't fully developed at the time we decided to hit the studio. I think we got 4 solid ones, 2 that are on the works, and we were just messing around with a couple of other new things the other day. So
what do you think is the secret sauce to all this thing? How is it that one time all of a sudden you get with these guys and all, is it giving up ego? I mean, like, is it that really what it comes down to? When you literally find somebody that you just don't mind that person, like when they all of a sudden they say something like, and for some reason it don't bother you when this person says it. The last couple, you had some guy that if he said it, it burns your ass a little bit, right?
No, ego is a big thing, but it's also, we kind of handpicked each other for this project, knowing who the people were.
Yeah, and I think that's the thing that makes this one special is I feel like we were people hanging out before it was a band. You know, meeting up with, there was a time, with Tommy, and we would meet at Corey's house and just, wait on drummers not to show up. And, and we got a chance to just really hang out for almost a full year. We're people first.
I wanted to get guys in a room and jam and see what the hell came out without saying we got to be a metal band or we got to be this or that.
Oh, cool.
But then it's also picking the right people that you know you're going to be comfortable doing that with. You know, you try not to bring in people you know who may have an ego or something like that. In fact, Corey, we never asked him because we didn't think he'd enjoy the style of music. But he asked us to try him out, and I thank him every time I see him for that.
He does. It's
it was.
He does think him like that. I don't know.
I do. I love listening to the guy sing.
So do I. Like his voice a lot.
I do too. I catch myself sitting and listening more than sometimes I'm jamming what I'm supposed to be jamming sometimes.
I mean, the newest one that we've been playing, it's called Another Night with Whiskey. It's another boogie, similar to State Next Time, but Corey just knocked the chorus out of the park.
Oh,
It's
In fact,
catchy,
we have a
hooky.
video of the whole show, and I want to get the guy that does our videos, Kevin, to just cut that song out so we can push it. 'Cause
I saw
I
Kevin.
love
All
it.
right. Title of this one is called Another Night with Whiskey. It's time to boogie. See some people moving for this one, man.
Straight up slow blues jam on the new thing. A couple of heavier sounding stuff. It's similar, but I'd like to say evolved a bit.
I think one thing that has evolved with us is maybe three or four of the tracks from the first album. They were started blueprints that Tommy had in his head about the kind of music we wanted to write. So I think those were a little bit heavy-handed riff-wise. They're guitar-driven riffs because we didn't have anything else. The new material for the new album is all four of us all the time.
So you guys got gigs coming up in the future here? I mean, you guys are playing out a couple places coming up.
April 30th, we're at the Vortex. That's the Vortex show.
That's Akron?
Vortex in Akron?
Have you played there yet?
We have not played the Vortex yet.
I heard it's a pretty cool place. I keep hearing a lot about it.
I think they're growing. I think they're making good decisions that are supporting the acts. From there, I think we turn our gaze over to the west. We're at the Sly Fox Lounge on the 3rd of June. So on 6/3, we're at the Sly Fox. From there, just announced, and when the release of this taping goes, we're playing back in Akron on the 18th of June.
Yep.
So June 18th, and then we're going way west to a really cool, what would you say? We got like an outdoor barbecue kind of situation going on around Black River Landing.
Beer Fest.
Oh,
The Beer Fest. So it's the Beer
it's
Fest.
at the Black River though.
Yeah.
You're gonna be playing on the stage there and everything.
Nah, I think
Oh.
it's a separate event from the concert series.
They give us the
but-
kids table. But
Yeah.
it's going to be cool.
Yeah. I don't think we could.
It's a cool
fill
place,
that whole
man. It's
place up.
fun. It's a cool place there.
Oh, I love going there during
Yeah.
the summer.
And that's back in August. So August 13th, we're over there.
Wow. Excellent, man. Excellent. All right, guys. Well, that's about it for us today. Check it out when you get a chance to. You guys are out by your computer or on your phone. This is BS. It's a great album by these guys, Bessemer Saints. If you see that they're playing out somewhere, I definitely suggest you go check them out. And that's about it. This is Level Up Cleveland. Thanks for coming down.
We appreciate it
Thank
fully.
you.
Till next week, guys. Have a great one.
That'll be fine.